Darren, I show we're just a minute after 5:30. Do you want to get the show on the road here?
I'm good with moving forward if you want to do the intro.
Okay, happy to. Thank you.
Thank you.
So good evening and welcome to the fourth public information meeting for the Pumping Station 17 Force Main Relief Phase 2 project. Before we get started, there are a few housekeeping rules we ask everyone to please abide by. That helps us have a productive and orderly meeting. So number one, please enter your first and last name in the participant panel. You can do so by hovering over by your name and you'll see 3 dots. And then at that point, you can change your name if need be. Number two, due to the high volume of participants, all participant microphones have been muted for tonight's meeting. We ask that you please submit your questions to the meeting host through chat, and we will address your questions during the Q&A portion of the meeting. Number three, as a reminder, this meeting is being recorded and will be available on the district website by September 28th. And with that, let's have a great meeting and thank you everyone for attending tonight. Thank you.
Thank you, Janelle. My name's engineer with the district, Madison Metropolitan Sewerage District. Janelle, thank you for going over the housekeeping items here. The agenda for tonight's meeting, I will go over what the district is, the project background, construction corridor specifics, the selected improvements update that was vetted through PIM number 2 and number 3, and then the trail closures, the construction schedule, and then communication during construction. And then we will take any questions at the end. The district compromises of a regional conveyance system and treatment facility. So basically almost every community within the Dane County area that's adjacent to the city of Madison minus some prairie is connected to the district. So your local collection systems discharge wastewater to the district. We convey it through 145 miles of gravity and force main, and then also through 18 pumping stations that end up at the Nine Springs treatment plant that is just west of Lake Wabeesa. And currently right now we're treating about 36 million gallons of wastewater on an average day. So what is the sewer system that is underground? So from your house, whether you're using your sink, toilet, shower, etc., that flows through a lateral into the street by gravity, and a gravity main within the street flows to larger pipes. And as you move more and more downstream, the pipes get larger and larger. Ultimately, we have the largest pipes throughout the conveyance system. And then at some point, it potentially goes to a point at a pumping station where it cannot flow by gravity anymore. The pumping station basically lifts it, pressurizes it, and pushes the water uphill from a low point to a higher point where it can go to gravity flow again. If you think about a pumping station and a force main, it's similar to a sump pump in your basement. It pulls water out of a pit, it lifts it through force of the pump out the pipe that discharges to your yard. A similar situation, just untreated water versus clear water. The pumping station 17 planned service area, one of the reasons for the upgrades that are occurring with the need for the force main is to account for additional flow. That's for multiple reasons. Long-term growth of the area that's within gray on the screen here. So you can see the Midtown station kind of at the midpoint here is going to be decommissioned in the near future, and that is going to reroute flow to pumping station 17 also. Hence the need for additional capacity, ultimately the need for this additional relief force main pipe. So the city of Verona, portions of the town of Verona, portions of the city of Madison, and portions of the town of Middleton will all convey water to this collection system. The current limitations are the Midtown pumping station, the lower Badger Mill Creek interceptor connection that will go from the end of the blue line right here and then up to the Midtown station. Those are separate projects. The project we're focused on here is the pumping station 17 force main. The project background for the force main. So phase one was completed in conjunction with the city of Verona back in 2021. That was terminated from the pumping station on Bruce Street and then ended at the phase one limits just north of Arborvitae Place, south of the ice rink and the Little League complex in the city of Verona. Our objective for phase two is to take it from that point and cross old PB 18151 and connect up by Goose Lake, which there is another figure displaying that, which is right here. The final route for the force main, which was presented at previous public information meetings, starts at Arborvitae, runs along the red route here. That's the force main portion of the pipeline. And then that transitions from force main to gravity at a high point, and then gravity flows up to the Nine Springs Valley interceptor that is adjacent to Goose Lake right now, where we will tie in. That is on the north side of the Military Ridge State Trail. The construction corridor will comprise of the pipeline corridor and then the access points that we need to tie into local roads for construction access. So we can get material deliveries, access for construction equipment, construction staking, et cetera, et cetera. So the blue route along the County Gardens going east of PB and then also off of Grandview. Grandview is one of the access locations, and then transitioning up through the lands up by Goose Lake. And then the red area over within the city of Verona limits, that is a phase of their project that they are doing, is extending the path that was previously constructed with the phase one project to tie into Arborvitae Place, and then also a new path along the Lincoln Street channel and around the Lincoln Street pond that'll ultimately tie in just south of the ice rink and south of the Badger, or south of the Military Ridge State Trail, all east of the hometown area for the festival in June. The anticipated access points for construction will be through the County Gardens, off of Old PB, and then off of Grandview Road are the primary entrances for the district's work. The primary entrance for the city's work is through the ice rink off of East Verona Avenue, crossing the Military Ridge State Trail. There are secondary access points that each phase of the project will have to use, whether it's the city phase or the district phase, depending on what activities are occurring. So the city's secondary access is off of Arborvitae, and the secondary access for the district's project will be off of Old PB to do some of the trenchless work, which I will get into the details of that, along Old PB, and then also off of US Highway 18151 with limited access. And then there is a secondary access through the town neighborhood up there for very limited access when we're doing work adjacent to that area. So primary access to recoup is at the County Gardens off of Grandview for the district, and then for the city work is off of East Verona Avenue. The construction keynotes here, I want to highlight some areas we have along the district route. We have two creek crossings that are west of PB. We have trenchless installation under the roadways of Old PB and US Highway 18151. That's basically a boring machine that will drill through under the road to daylight the pipe on one side to the other, so that way we can keep traffic open and not install that by open trenching technologies. We have additional creek crossings on the east side of 18151 There are select trees that are not being removed. So there's an oak and some hickories that are being preserved along the south line of the Goose Lake area by the town and the county lands up there. And then we do have some tree clearing in this area up by the town where the gravity section of the district pipe is. And then, of course, the city path and then the bridge construction to go from the south side of Badger Mill Creek to the north side. The project specifics, there is an anticipated a little over 11,000 feet of pipeline to put in, so a little over 2 miles. 8,000 of that is force main pipe, and a little over 3,300 is the interceptor sewer. We have depths ranging from 10 feet to 28 feet for an excavation. That'll translate to a width of anywhere from 60 to 100 feet along the corridor of disturbance. We also have the bridge construction over the Badger Mill Creek for the city work, the tree removals, the asphalt paving that's associated with the city work, and then overall vegetative restoration as part of the project. The select improvements that were discussed at the previous PIMs, and I do have a figure to follow to refresh everyone's memory. There are select improvements that are being done with the project and then after the project. So completed with the project are going to be the Badger Mill Creek path extension and paving of the Arborvitae connection. That's improvement number 1. And these are the same numerical references that were previously presented also. The oak tree line / hickory tree line restoration and select clearing. The native prairie restoration on areas 9 and 10. And then the Pheasant Lane trail widening. And then after the project, Dane County is going to restore areas 3 and 6. And then also within that, the Friends of Badger Mill Creek, and I coordinated with Brian Christian earlier on this, that they're doing work in area 3 with Dane County. So I wanted to put a plug in for him. So if anyone wants to reach out to him and help those efforts, he's more than willing to take some extra hands and feet. And then after the project is completed by the Ice Age Trail, they're going to realign the Ice Age Trail. And like I said, map to follow. The Friends of the Badger Mill Creek, some of the work that they've completed and plans to complete, this is information I got from Brian Christian. So some of the invasive removals that have been completed to date is along the oak tree line near the Military Ridge Reserve in the city of Verona. That is just north of the Military Ridge Drive and south of the Little League complex. The southern perimeter of the Military Ridge Reserve, and then the Ice Age Trail alignment in the woods west of Arborvitae and Arborvitae Place, and along the current Badger Mill Creek path that was completed during phase 1, they did invasive species removals. So thank you, Brian. And then within area number 3, which is just adjacent to the Arborvitae Creek neighborhood, and earlier this year in the spring, they did a herbicide treatment. And then phase 2, I apologize for the typo here, spring of 2024, they're going to do a herbicide treatment, and then seeding in there in that area is going to be determined. And they're working with Lars Higdon at Dane County Parks on that. So Brian, thank you for that information again. And as I promised, here's the figure of the selected improvements. So you can see area 1 is the path extension, area 3 that I kind of highlighted, and 6 are going to be done after the project in conjunction with Dane County. So 3 and 6 after the project. Everything else on the map here is going to be done within the project. This map is actually on the project website already, so you kind of reference this if you want to be able to zoom in and kind of see more of the extents. And then also the Ice Age Trail realignment. We do have a later slide that kind of zooms in on that area so you can see how the realignment is going to be after the project, but there also is realignments on a temporary basis for a detour during construction, which Kevin will get into in the near term. The native prairie restoration goals in the areas of 3 and 6 and then 9 and 10 are basically to kind of bring back the historical landscape of the wetland and savanna areas, preserve the fire dependent species of the hardwoods of the oak and the hickory, and then reestablish some of that habitat and that ecosystem value. And then select an improvement 1. This is the Badger Mill Creek path extension. I just wanted to provide a zoom in of this. So the bridge will basically go just east of where the Lincoln Street channel discharges into the Badger Mill Creek, and then basically follow the east side of the creek around the new pond and then tie in up by the Little League or the just south of the ice rink. And then also provide paving from where the current Ice Age Trail bridge is by the pines there, and then tie into Arborvitae Place. And then the Ice Age Trail realignment. So after the project is done, this will be coordinated by the Ice Age Trail, is to basically reroute from where the trail does the horseshoe through the county lands where the boardwalk is. It'll cross the new bridge that the city's installing, run along the north side of the creek and go along the berm that's already in existence, cross back to the south side of the creek and run along north of the gardens, and then tie back in to the bridge that is connecting the park and ride to the county gardens just west of Old PB there. And I'm going to hand it off to Kevin Lord now. He was our design consultant for the project. He's going to go over the anticipated trail detours and closures. So Kevin, I'm going to mute and you can take it away.
All right, let me know you can still hear me though, Theron, quick.
We are good. I can hear you.
Okay, perfect. All right, thanks, Theron. As Theron mentioned, I'm Kevin Lord with MSA Professional Services, and we were working with the district and the city of Verona on this on the design part of the project. You can go to the next slide. There you go. So this is basically just showing just south of 151 up by Goose Lake, where we're making the connection with the interceptor sewer, and where we're going to be crossing the Military Ridge State Trail. The Military Ridge State Trail is going to be kept open during construction. However, it's anticipated to include small detours right within the area of the sewer crossing, shown as Phase A and Phase B in the blue and red on here. Basically, the work is planned to be done in stages. So they'll basically, the plan is to install Phase A. They can make the connection to the existing sewer, get through basically where Phase B is, and then obviously do the vice versa and flip the trail back and forth. With this though, during all these phases, there will be construction equipment crossing the area. So detours are going to be lined with pedestrian barricades for safety. Construction traffic's going to be flagged as needed, and there will be stop signs as well for the construction traffic across the path. So this work is planned as anticipated within stage 1 of the project. So we'll be starting this fall right away, basically with the project, and be completed by the summer of 2024. And then the Military Ridge State Trail will be reconstructed at the original location once it is all completed. Flip slides. The main entrance, as Theron pointed out, for the Badger Mill Creek path will be from East Verona Avenue and through the Verona Ice Arena frontage. The Military Ridge State Trail will remain open as well during construction. However, basically at this location, it'll just be crossing it with construction traffic. So there'll be stop signs for the construction traffic. We installed warnings and yield signs along the path. Flagging will be utilized as necessary during the specific high volume construction traffic times. The Ice Age Trail will also be utilizing the Military Ridge State Trail during construction phasing, and as Darren mentioned, there'll be some more diagrams of that coming up here. And then utilizing an area adjacent to the Badger Mill Creek path until construction of the path is complete. This is also planned for stage 1 of the construction, so beginning this fall through the summer of 2024. Next. All right. This is showing basically the Badger Mill Creek path anticipated closure in the city of Verona. So this is the portion of the path that was completed during Phase 1. There will be access needs from Arborvitae Place in order to complete the bridge and the path on the south side of the Badger Mill Creek. This work is anticipated as well within the entire stage 1 projects planned for this fall through the summer of 2024. During this time, we're planning to close down Badger Mill Creek. It'll be closed between Lincoln Street Crossing and Arborvitae Place. So there'll be path closed signs installed on each end of the closure of the path through that area. Next. All right. Now this is showing the areas basically kind of west of Old PB within the Badger Prairie County Park there. The walking trails within the Badger Prairie County Park will be closed, starting with the beginning of construction anticipated through the summer of 2024. Project informational signs will be installed at the connections of the trails with the Military Ridge State Trail, Arborvitae Place, Lincoln Street Crossing, Community Garden entrance, and by the connection to the Military Ridge Reserve paths. These informational signs will basically kind of show a similar graphic as to what's on here, as to what's closed and some of the detour routes and things. The Ice Age Trail will be rerouted as shown in red for the first year, which is basically utilizing the Military Ridge State Trail and a path through the grass along the planned Badger Mill Creek path. During the second year, beginning the fall of 2024 through the summer of 2025, Ice Age Trail will utilize the yellow route shown, again using the Military Ridge State Trail, and then they can use the Badger Mill Creek path that's going to be constructed. And then ultimately, as Theron mentioned, the Ice Age Trail route shown in blue is currently the planned route that's going to be of the Ice Age Trail. On here, it's mainly shown on the north side of the Badger Mill Creek, and you can see where it crosses on the right-hand side of the sheet, and then it follows kind of the south side of the Badger Mill Creek. The Ice Age Trail will install the detour signs and notify appropriate parties throughout construction of how the detours will follow and everything. All right, next. This is also showing the Dane County lands over by Goose Lake. Local trails located in the Dane County Ice Age Trail Junction Natural Resource Area near Goose Lake are planned to be closed during the duration of the project. Numerous of these paths are shown here in red that are utilized currently within the park. There's probably more that are used by others as well. These are some of the main ones. Project informational signage again will be posted near the entrances to the park area off 151, Pheasant Lane, and DeMarco Trail. It's anticipated that this area will be closed during beginning the fall of 2023 through the summer of 2025 for the duration of the project. And then paths that are disturbed by the construction will be replaced with a couple with paths as well. Some of them are planned to be relocated along the sanitary interceptor route. All right, next one. This is a blow up of the community gardens entrance just off of Old PB, which is one of the main entrances, construction entrances for the project. The community gardens will have access throughout the project duration. The community garden entrance from Old County Highway PB will be the main entrance location for the sanitary force main work westerly of 151. Material and construction equipment storage will be occurring westerly of the existing gardens. It's anticipated this area will be set up beginning in the fall of 2023 and have traffic through the area through the spring of 2025 for the entire duration of the project. The construction traffic will be separated from the community garden user traffic as shown. Construction drums will be installed and signage to divert construction traffic to the northerly portion of the area nearing the Badger Mill Creek, shown where there's the number 2, and the community garden users will utilize the existing gravel parking. The garden user traffic will be confined to the southerly side of the area nearest the gardens, with overflow parking to the west on the grass area beyond the existing gravel parking, which is also shown there with the number 3. All right, next one. This is a larger overview of the gardens area. So obviously at the very north is where we were just talking. And then this just goes a little bit further. So during construction, further alterations will be shown in this area. The existing mulch pile, shown as number 1 on this map, is planned to be relocated to the approximate location shown as number 2 on the map, directly on the westerly side of the garden and south of the construction access. Mulch will then be available for users without crossing the construction route for use in the gardens. Area shown as number 3 is the planned storage area for the project for materials and equipment needed. Areas 4 and 5 shown are for the installation of the sanitary force main. Temporary fence is planned to be installed northerly of the sanitary force main construction and easterly of the work area around the garden area in order to maintain a safe area around the garden area during construction. With that, I'll turn it back over to Theron to continue.
Thanks, Kevin. The anticipated sequence, which is subject to change for the build sequence for the district side, is basically starting at Goose Lake under stage 1 and progressing into stage 2, with basically stage 1 and stage 2 will be concurrent though, because the trenchless work that is occurring under old PB and US Highway 18151 will occur right away also, because that is a long duration of prep work, and then also the installation of the casing pipe that goes under the roadway. And then prior to everything else, of course, we call it stage 0, which is basically all the prep work that has to get done prior to pipe installation for installing erosion, mobilizing, installing erosion control, clearing, any perimeter site fencing that needs to get put up, all the notification signs, that'll be done before construction even starts. And then also the city's work is in conjunction with stage 1, but they run different schedules. So stage 1 has its own milestone dates to be done for the city work, and stage 1 and 2 for the district side has its own milestone date of when that work needs to be completed by. The limits on this map are shown just for illustrative purposes only. For stage 2 and 3, the limits of those may change throughout construction, but it gives you an overview of what areas we will be working in at what time. And the next slide kind of goes over the date ranges for stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, etc. So stage 0, everyone's probably wondering when we're going to start construction. First week of November is roughly when we're going to mobilize in, so you can plan on that. Monday, November 6th is when activity will occur with equipment mobilizing in. It may be a few days later, it could be the next week, but plan on November 6th. Stage 1 completion date. So winter work 2023 through the spring of 2024, with the Badger Mill Creek path being open on or before June 20th, 2024. The target date of that was to be open before hometown days. So that's stage 1 for the city portion. That also follows the same milestone date for the district also. So the gravity portion of that work needs to be done in June of 2024 also. Stage 2 for the district work will continue throughout the winter of 2023 into 2024, and will continue throughout the season of 2024. The exact limits of termination will be determined as construction progresses, but there is a milestone percentage of pipe that needs to be installed within 2024. And then the ultimate completion, stage 3 completion of the work, is to be completed in June, July of 2025. So this is not quite a 2-year build, but anticipating 2 full construction seasons of work occurring out there. Like I said, summer 2025, all work is to be completed and the warranty period will begin. And as I stated, disclosure on the last page, the limits of stage 2 and 3 are shown for illustrative purposes. They are subject to change, but the rough limits of where they are shown are pretty finite of where we will be working. The project webpage has been one of the same throughout. I will post random updates roughly when certain milestones are completed, and I'll just give a brief little update. And basically when an update occurs on there, you'd get a notification if you've signed up for when updates are posted to this site. So if you haven't done that, do that. That'll be how we'll communicate through here. Limited communication, but if there is a question somebody has, just feel free to reach out to me. And all the stakeholders that were involved throughout this, that'll be involved with the project throughout construction. I'll be the lead on the project. I'll be out there on the district's behalf. My contact information is on here. This presentation will be posted to the website, so do not write our emails down unless you feel the need to. Otherwise, you can get them off the website after Janelle gets it posted towards the latter end of next week. So I'd like to thank everyone that's on this slide, and then obviously everyone that provided input throughout the project. City of Verona staff, working with the path, Brian Christian, with the Badger Mill Creek, Dane County staff with Teresa Nelson and Chris James, and then the Ice Age Trail volunteers and staff of Chad and then Dave Lonsdorf also. That is the last slide. So if there are any questions, as Janelle asked, please add them to the chat, and then I will have her facilitate and mediate them. So Janelle, you can take it from here.
So far, I have no questions in chat. Again, I'm the meeting host, so if you'd like to submit a question, you're submitting it to the meeting host. I have nothing there in so far. Why don't we just wait a moment or two and see if any
Sounds good.
questions come in?
I see one question came in. Will Belleville be attached to the pipe? No. They are not part of the regional sewerage district. They have their own conveyance and treatment system.
There, and I have a question. For statement, it says, I own the outlet at the end of Pheasant Lane. I was never contacted directly regarding access.
I guess if she could provide her information, I can reach out to her and see what coordination had
Yep, I
occurred.
have a person's name here, so.
Yep.
Okay.
I don't see anything else coming in.
There, and I have another.
Okay.
Says, for the path on the left side of the map, the red one that hitches up to Military Ridge, will that loop around anywhere during this project?
Is he referring to the temporary or the final path? If they could clarify, that would help.
The follow-up from that person says, or do we just end up at PB, the temporary path?
You want to read both statements again, Janelle? Just so I
Sure.
can process it.
Sure, it says, for the path on the left side of the map, the red one that hitches up to Military Ridge, will that loop around anywhere during this project? Or do we just end up at PB, the temporary path?
Yeah, the red path, yes, you'll basically the detour route is to cross for the Ice Age Trail. I'm referring to the Ice Age Trail detour, is to start for the boardwalk ends, run parallel to the Lincoln Street channel, tie into the Military Ridge State Trail, and then end back towards where the junction is up by the Park and Ride. So yes, up by PB. If there's another route somebody has that's outside of the construction corridor, that's a posted pedestrian route, obviously it's free will.
There and those are all the messages I have in chat.
Okay. I'm seeing others coming in on my end, so I will just, oh, they're sending direct chats to me. That's why. Who are the contractors doing the work and who is a trenchless contractor? The general contractor is Menger Construction Company, and they are also doing the trenchless work. Menger was the general contractor on the phase 1 work that occurred in 2020 and 2021 also, for reference. I don't have anything coming to me direct, Janelle.
I don't either, so it's your call.
I think we can do going once, going twice, going 3 times. If nobody's got any other inquiries at this point, we can call the meeting complete. And thank you everyone for attending. And like I said before, if there's any questions, you can feel free to reach out to me. And if I don't know the answer, or if it's a question regarding something else that other stakeholders were involved in, I will certainly route the question to the appropriate personnel. So thank you everyone, and have a good evening.